It's Jim Check once again with Ian Burns with part two. Do we got an echo going on? Something seems odd. It's myself, Jim Check, with Ian Burns with part two. We had to cut it in half today because Ian had a family obligation, but we're here with part two. The first part was all about David Eby's accusation of treason and how the media just went to town on him. Now we're going to get to the other stuff. But we do want a big shout out there and say we're going to hit 1.5 million views for the month of January. Our goal was 1 million. We beat that. We beat that like a rented mule, I guess is the old saying. We beat that. We beat that pony, and we're going to beat it again. So thank you for all the people that log in. And we did ask people to come back. So I'm not sure. Some people like listening to it in one full sweep here. So we'll see how it goes here for part two here, but we're going to kick it off right away. And Mark Carney was in that Premier's meeting, and he just kind of laid out some of the accomplishments here. We'll put some quotations around that. Let's go.
Of course, as we're building new partnerships abroad, we're focused on building our strength at home, transforming our economy. So one thing that came out of our initial discussions as First Ministers a little under a year ago, was the One Canadian Economy Act at the federal level. It was passed. It eliminated all federal barriers to internal trade and mobility. A number of you have already made significant progress. Look to you, Doug, Tim, particularly, and others, significant progress in reducing interprovincial trade barriers. But we all know that more can be done. To realize our full potential, we need to break down the remaining costly and long-standing barriers once and for all. There's many estimates of this. One came out this week from the IMF. The prize is worth more than $200 billion to Canadians. The second way we're building one strong, united Canadian economy is through our nation-building projects. New ports, mines, trade, sovereign data, energy, transportation corridors, unlocking our vast resources, connecting Canadians to new markets, and creating hundreds of thousands of new careers. We've already referred 11 major projects to the Major Projects Office, projects from every region in the country, representing over $116 billion of investments. One thing we'll do today is I'll talk a bit about the federal government's upcoming electricity strategy, which will complement your leadership, your efforts in doubling the size of our grid, lowering costs for Canadians and Canadian business, and extending our energy advantage in the world. This table knows, and you live it, it's not just what we build, it's how we build. It means working in true partnership with Indigenous peoples. It means moving quickly and responsibly through one project, one review to accelerate approval timelines. We're pleased that we've signed cooperation agreements already with New Brunswick, with Ontario, with British, and the original with British Columbia. And I look forward to signing more of these agreements in the months ahead.
I just want to remind people, especially the government, that it's been 10 months. We're banging on the door of a year, and we're still talking. We were going to tear down all the interprovincial trade barriers. They're still there. We're going to unleash the resources. And there was 12 projects, I like to remind people. There's 12. One of them was such a not nation-building project. They even themselves just like, man, let's get rid of that one. Right? That small power plant up in the territories, they're just like, yeah, that one doesn't belong on there.
Yeah.
How many of those have advanced? How many have advanced?
About what we talked about how the country doesn't operate like a country. It's like 10 different countries. Mm-hmm. And it's so hard to move even for work and things like that. When is that going to happen? Like that would require so much political capital. I just don't see that being prepared. He didn't even talk about that. It's just become a kind of phrase that he can rely on. He can talk about this one unified Canadian economy, but doesn't actually do anything to make it happen. Even when he cites a report from the IMF that explains specifically how to do it, he's still going to cite that report and then not do what it advises him to do.
He didn't cite the report from the IMF yesterday, did he? Missed that one. Yeah. Unleash the resources? I don't know. Again, lots of talk. I mean, if you're thinking, maybe they're thinking in more of a Chinese government where you're going to be in power for the next 100 years, and this is how stuff moves slow. But in China, stuff moves fast. There's nothing moving fast. There's nothing that's going on. Nothing that I can think of. And even in the missteps, I think like the words he chooses sometimes, I mean, lots of times he speaks with ambiguity, and a lot of that is on purpose. Like even this, we're going to have this, new trade agreement with China, and then he's back talks it. Let's listen to this though, like because of how he goes back and forth on it here.
How are you responding to Trump's threats of 100% tariffs?
Well, the first thing is that Canada respects our engagements, our commitments. We have commitments under CUSMA that not to pursue free trade agreements with non-market economies without prior notification. We have no intention of doing that with China or any other non-market economy.
Example is the new trade agreement with China that we all worked on together.
How are you responding to Trump's
That's
threats?
good. That's good. Like it's just the language is so confusing sometimes. I'm not sure if because when they came back, they were touting it as this big trade deal, and it was amazing. It's like nobody read CUSMA for all the fine print in there. You can't make trade deals with non-market economies. And then he even said that China doesn't even fall into that group. And then all of a sudden, they conceded on that point. It's just like they're trying to like pick at minutia, like they don't read the documents. I don't know. It's confusing.
He did say free trade in the one and trade in the other, and there is a big difference between that trade deal and free trade deal. So that would be his defense. But the problem is, language does matter, and there is such a thing as political language, and you need to be very sensible the way that you use language in a political context. And that he's opened himself up to this, frankly, by just playing dumb when the Americans were ranting about it. I think it was quite a failed response.
Yeah, and here's this in the Financial Post. Alberta has been right all along. Energy is the key to Canada's economic sovereignty. Really? Just getting the memo now? Like just getting the memo? You got to watch this show more often. Energy is everything. Just like
it's like they're all on the same email list or something. They've all got the memo. It's like, oh yeah, energy's important now, and everyone's just hammering this kind of thing out. It's like, come on, where were you 10 years ago, or even 20 years ago?
Well, I mean, it's like they go to a website. We don't know what the website is because we'd like to go there. They don't give us the access because like treason's the new word. We got to do treason. Anti-vaxxer. Energy is the key to Canada's economic sovereignty. Except ours is going to be tied to carbon capture. Wait till we get to that part. Ours is going to be tied to that. The Stats Canada reported those real GDP was essentially unchanged in November, following a 0.3% decline in October. So, in Canada here we are flat at best, and that is like the layoffs keep coming. The Stats Can highlighted the output from steel, auto, aluminum, and steel sector strangled by crippling U.S. tariffs. In a preliminary review of economy's performance in December, Stats Can said GDP appeared to grow by 0.1%. But I mean, we just heard the Liberals stand up in the House of Commons there saying that we have the strongest economy in the G7. That we're building the strongest economy.
Francois Philippe Champagne said second strongest.
Oh, he changed it to second.
They already changed it. Yeah.
We're far from the strongest.
This isn't flat. This isn't stagnation. I wish it was. We aspire to stagnation in this country, unfortunately.
Negative.
This is bad. This is poverty, like increase in poverty, because we add more people. Each month, the population grows by more than 0.1%. So we all get a little bit poorer.
Yeah. It just seems to get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And they talk about how, everybody coming to Canada, like Francois Philippe Champagne will stand there, Jolie will stay there and said, everybody wants to come to Canada. Where are they? Where? Again, Melanie Jolie, just reach over to the person that sits right there beside you. Just ask them, why haven't you brought the Brookfield stuff back? Why are all your investments in the United States? Why did you go there? No questions. Another
That's a
tariff,
boring
though.
question.
Yeah, who cares? Another question, though, or another tariff. Sorry, another question. Another tariff. Trump threatens to throw a 50% tariff on Canadian-made planes, and that's. And he said, based on the fact Canada has wrongfully, illegally, and steadfastly refused to certify the Gulfstream 500, 600, 700, 800 jets, one of the greatest, and of course, Trump, the greatest planes ever, and the best. Nobody's ever seen jets as good as these. But instead of the media checking this out, I mean, let's say all the media, some of the media, like the CBC, they're just like, just another tariff, like he's going crazy. Instead of saying, are we slowing down the certification of the Gulfstream? Are we dragging our feet? Because we've been guilty of a few other things. Like we have a few things that are outside CUSMA that we're kind of like, and that's been highlighted before, that Canada has been tough to deal with, that we kind of do things outside the agreement. So one should ask.
Donald Trump, God bless him, has he's finally encountered Canadian bureaucracy, hasn't he? And this is his reaction.
How slow it is. Yeah.
Tweet.
Just absolutely slow.
We all have to deal with this. This is like standard Canadian bureaucratic speed, isn't it? They're taking a long time. But I think I've heard justifications linked to the Boeing Max, whatever that one was called, the one that crashed a few times. And then there's like an increase. Yeah, there's increased sort of vigilance and scrutiny now of new planes.
They did ask the question of Minister Jolie here, the industry minister. Let's listen to Jolie.
Really important sector, not only for Montreal and Quebec, but also for the rest of the country. There are many people working also in the aerospace sector in Calgary and also in Ontario.
Will you get Transport Canada to try to speed up these certifications of the American planes?
So it is our understanding that the certification process is well underway, and that the certification demands were absolutely recent. So meanwhile, the certification process is something that we don't politicize. Things are done in a really, how can I say, in an administrative manner. But what I can tell you is our government wants to cut more red tape, wants to take decisions faster. There's frustration towards the fact that sometimes decisions are too long. So we'll make sure that we get to the bottom of this question, because this is really important.
It takes 2 years to get a drill hole, like just for exploration. Too long? Well,
but also just this idea that like it's such a neutral, it's like a sacred facet of Canadian society that these planes Transport Canada will do this independently. So help us God. It's like, no, like if it's gonna trash the economy, especially Quebec's economy, you'll do it. You'll tell them to do it. Of course you will. Stop playing around like that. We live in this world where everything occurs independently and everything's all nice and sacred and precious. That's not how power works. And this is, we've said this before, but this is like Donald Trump's weapon, isn't it? He exposes the reality, doesn't he? He exposes the truth of power.
And here's Michael Cooper also calling it out. Let's listen to Michael Cooper, Conservative MP.
The minister broke his promise to build big, build bold, and build now. His big solution was Bill C-5 to establish a major projects office. And yet here we are, and not a single major project has been approved, let alone built. A clear case of a disconnect between rhetoric and reality. So what exactly is the holdup?
I don't know which major project he's referring to. If he has a major project that is not currently before the government, I would like him to bring it to me. What I can tell him is that the MOU signed with his premier envisages nuclear development in the province, carbon capture and storage in the province, interconnects between prairie provinces, Mr. Speaker. Those are all mega projects, and we haven't even left the confines of the province of Alberta yet. We're going to continue working to build this country, Mr. Speaker, whether that MP likes it or not.
When does it start then? Steve, when does it start? When does it start? And carbon capture is not an energy project. It's an energy grift project. Like what energy? Do you put that in your car, or how do you use carbon capture? Where do you use that energy?
They're saying that it's going to be a world-class industry, you know. So, and that we can go and export technology.
Let me help them with the misinformation. It is a world-class tax scheme. That's what it is. A world-class tax scheme. That's what it is. Because if you're taking something and injecting it, getting rid of it, and then charging people for you to get rid of it, that's not energy, right? And it's private companies that are going to get the right to do this, like Carbon Capture USA and the other one that moved to Alberta to get 75 cents tax credits. That's socializing the risk. That means you're paying for the risk. The Canadian taxpayer pays for it. And then privatizing the gains. That means the profits. That means that private company will get the ability to tax our energy. And guess who is the leader in carbon capture in the world that's invested billions and billions of dollars in carbon capture? None other than Brookfield Technologies. Talk about fortuitous, right? Talk about how fortuitous that is. But you know who's calling it out? Not the Canadian media. I mean, we are. They won't talk to us. But not CBC, not CTV. But here it is. This is from the State Department. A State Department from the U.S. said the department regularly meets with civil society types, as is typical in routine meetings such as these. The person familiar with Bassett's thinking says the Treasury said neither supported nor opposed Alberta's independence movement, but views Carney as pursuing a personal agenda to the detriment of the province, highlighting his prior work on climate issues. It's still going on. Carbon capture is Mark Carney's thing from Net Zero Alliance. Nobody else in the world doing it. Mark Carney, Carbon Capture USA said it right on their website. Our technology doesn't work anywhere except Canada because that's where we can get these lucrative tax credits. Carbon capture. And they're talking about it like it's like they invented something that the world's going to come beating down the door for. South Korea, Japan, and Germany all signed LNG deals with the Americans, and they didn't ask for any carbon capture.
The whole point of it, every climate change policy, which are all, as I've said a million times, and we should say this more often, just to clarify what exactly it is. It's to make sure that the temperature of the planet rises by less than they expect it will in the year 2100 compared to what it was in the year 1850. That's what all this is about. All like the Paris Agreement and all the rest of it. But everything associated with that, every sort of policy put forward, it relies on the entire planet doing it, not just Canada, which is a completely insignificant country when it comes to CO2 emissions. So insignificant that it doesn't matter. You're wasting your breath if you even talk about Canada. If you really believe all this, if you believe the scare stories of the Greta Thunberg sort of fake interpretation of climate change, you wouldn't waste a second on Canada. You would just be immediately right to China. That's the place that matters, and the US and India. But those countries, as you've said, as we've said many times, they're not going big on carbon capture. So what's the point? If it's an entire world event and we're the last ones and we're not getting on the boat, all right, then maybe we can have a conversation about it. If every other country in the world's like, come on, we're capturing all the carbon, but it's just us. So what's the point? And it's never been explained. And I'm convinced that it never will be explained because they're never going to be asked that question.
Somebody here, the post-war dream, says that the right loves to bootlick oil. I drive an electric car and I have solar on my roof, but I also recognize our economy is getting crushed. and our wealth lies beneath our feet there. And if we're the only ones do it, and we have to ask about the conflicts of interest, that's the paramount thing, that media's job is to hold power accountable. And Mark Carney has a horrible conflict of interest. If nobody else in the world is doing it, and somebody makes money off it that's making the decisions, if that was a CEO of a company, they wouldn't get to be the CEO of a company. They would be conflicts of interest. They would remove that CEO. They wouldn't let him stay there. It's a conflict of interest. Is he acting in the best interest of Canada, or is he acting in the best interest of Brookfield and his own wealth? Those are questions that need to be answered. They're not getting asked. That's the bigger problem. They're not even getting asked. Anyway, bootlicking. Imagine that, bootlicking. There you go. Here's the commissioner for the Ontario Police Force working with Gary. Nope. Let's listen to what he has to say.
Inspector Jeff Brazeau will speak to the specific results. I want to highlight the significance of what has been achieved. Investigators seized 31 crime guns through Project Alias. These are not legally owned firearms seized from law-abiding citizens. They are illegally obtained weapons being trafficked as commodities for profit and being leveraged by violent criminals who damage the quality of life in our communities and pose a significant threat to both public and officer safety.
Those aren't the law-abiding citizens? Didn't think so. But Gary, well, we got retweeted by the CCFR. There you go. Look at that. Ian and Jim making the big time. Look at that, eh?
Yeah, I guess so.
What's that?
I suppose so. But I'm also half laughing at we're being called consistently being called bootlickers. I've never really been into boots myself.
I wear sneakers. I typically wear sneakers, but I guess it's a new word. Yeah. Why don't you try bootlicking treasonist? Maybe that works better. I don't know. You can just come up with a better.
But also another person that talks about fossil fuels, I guess, globalist megacorps, but it's in the context of oil, isn't it? Talking about oil, talking about fossil fuels as the enemy, as a bad thing. This is coming from a person who is alive because of fossil fuels and almost certainly has no idea that that's the case. Almost certainly, like Avi Lewis and such people, I mean, he's a more high-profile person, but doesn't seem to realize that, for example, if you want steel, steel's good, isn't it? I mean, Mark Carney says it's not very good, but steel's very useful and good, I think. If you want steel, you need fossil fuels. If you want crops to grow, you need fossil fuels. If you want them to be harvested, you need fossil fuels. That's not negotiable. You can't have a steel industry with electricity. I mean, but they don't. We're kind of wasting our time as usual. I feel like.
But I'd say this:
climate chat is a waste of time because they don't understand any of this and they have no interest in learning.
Yeah, I think the post-war dream. If you want to continue to converse, you got to at least buy a couple of sausage rolls. Because you've said your thing already, you've insulted us several times. So unless you buy some sausage rolls, we're done listening. Here's Gary Andesangria. I don't know if I got that right. I think it was Andesangria. Andesangria. He says that he doesn't anticipate any challenges in collecting the firearms banned by the Liberals as part of the federal government's buyback. Are they just absolutely just oblivious? How many provinces did we go through yesterday that said not going to participate? How many? But he's not anticipating any problems. $750 million of Canadian taxpayer dollars. Provinces that aren't doing it, this is from memory now: Alberta, Manitoba, Ontario,
Saskatchewan,
Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, Nova Scotia. Is they in? And then the territories in the Yukon. And that's not problems. We're confident that the program can be implemented. That's from Gary.
The same guy that said, there's no way this is going to be implemented. Sure, guys. Gaza.
Oh, man. Anyway, this is the one that really hurts Canadians. This is the one that's really bothering everybody. It's the food right now. A trip to the grocery store now feels like a punch in the gut. 52% of Canadians now say groceries are their top financial concern. That's huge. And what did we get for that? Here's some crumbs for 12 million people. I mean, that's not even going to be for 12 million. But here's some crumbs for 12 million people. A couple of $100. That everything's good. Just like Chrystia Freeland said, cut your Netflix, or cut Disney. That's not fixing things. And Mark Carney said, judge me by the grocery store. Well, you've been weighed and measured. It's almost been a year. It's getting worse. We have the highest inflation, grocery inflation, in the G7. And there's things you can do about it you refuse to do. Industrial carbon tax, cut it. The packaging tax, cut it. The clean fuel tax regulation, cut it. Right now, all those things will reduce inflation on food. Every one of those would reduce the inflation immediately. You have the power to do it. You have the pen. You have that Sharpie. Remember you sat down at the desk there and did that performative signing? Just pull the Sharpie out and just fix it right there, right now. You can do it. At no cost to the taxpayer. Just do it. Just do it. Help people. Help everybody. Not the few, right? This is how they divide people too. So they gave a few crumbs to a few people and nothing to the hurting middle class. 50% of Canadians are $200 away from meeting their monthly obligations. Yeah.
Tragic.
You've been weighed and measured. Where's CBC and CTV and Global talking about that? You've been weighed and measured, and you've come up short. You like that saying? You've been weighed and measured.
They give.
You've come up short.
It's rare for a prime minister or a leader to literally give his opponents the rope with which to hang him, and that's exactly what Mark Carney did. He said, "Judge me on the grocery prices. They've never been worse. It's never been more miserable." And yet, you have CBC, CTV, all the rest of the boys sat there. They've got the rope in their hands, but they're not using it. They refuse.
What they're using it for, they've got a new word, treason. They're using that. They're going after conservatives, right? That's who they're going after. Yeah, because this is the thing. This is what he ran on. You can measure me by the trip to the grocery store. It's been a year. And it's an old English saying. You've been weighed and measured, and you've come up short.
It's in the Bible. It's a biblical line from Daniel.
There you go. Somebody said gold tanking. Yeah, and I was going to say that it looked like a blow-off top on especially silver the other day. But is it a blow-off top, or is it just a badly needed correction? I'm just going to throw this in here. Is it a badly needed correction? So when you get these straight up movements, right? And that's always funny in the gold sector and stuff like that too, right? Gold moves from 2,000 an ounce to almost 6,000, like the high fives, and people are just like, it's never enough, and it goes down by $500. They're just like, oh my God, there's panic in the streets. Silver goes from like $20 to 120, and it's back to 80, and they're just panicking in the streets. Come on, think with your head, man. Corrections are good. Straight up is not good, right? So watch it. Watch it. Has anything changed in the market? Has anything changed to what was driving it? There's still these big discrepancies in the market. So let's talk about jobs, though. Let's talk about the auto sector. Here's Flip-Flop Ford. This is going to keep that name until he stops flip-flopping. Let's go, Ford.
Sure. General Motors about shutting down, and what do you say to those families, even though I know there's an auto strategy coming, but they're concerned about their futures right now?
Well, we have a plan. We're going to make sure that they have opportunities in the defense sector, life science sector, other areas, and we'll be there for them 24/7. So it's very disappointing, but this goes back to our point that we have to move quicker and faster and make sure that the federal government comes in to support not only these workers, but the overall auto sector. We have to be more competitive. We have to get rid of the EV mandate to make ourselves more competitive. And that's my message to the Prime Minister.
I mean, the EV mandate, like finally, he found those words. He found those words. Like, how long did it take flip-flop Ford to figure out the EV mandate is killing the auto sector in Canada? How long? We've been doing this show for almost a year now. We've been saying it for a year. Kill the EV mandate. Our tech guy there says born in a year. But anyway, we've been saying it forever. And Doug Ford finally found his voice. The EV mandate is killing the auto sector in Canada. Ford and GM cannot make money selling EVs. Neither can Toyota, neither can Honda. They make money selling hybrids. And so look at the stock prices of Ford and GM since they had the EV mandate lifted off their heads in the United States of America. They wrote off billions of dollars in the tech. Yet Canada continues to want to push this EV mandate. And now they found, I guess, a solution to get Chinese cars in here. And, you know, to add insult to injury, here is Melanie Joly.
Well, listen, the loss of jobs in Oshawa is completely unacceptable. It's twice in 6 months that GM is cutting down its workforce presence here in Canada after the cuts at Ingersoll. So I had a meeting yesterday with people from GM, and I told them that we would be getting our money back. And meanwhile, if GM doesn't want to continue to invest more in Canada, well, we will invest in more in other players, and we'll fight for these workers, and we'll find them jobs. And so Honda and Toyota are investing more in Canada. The new RAV4 by Toyota was launched last week. They haven't made one layoff in nearly 40 years. They are 70% of our production. And so I think that it's good that Canadians support those who support us. And we're actively working to get more automakers to Canada, and we're definitely working to get Hyundai and Volkswagen and Chinese automakers to make sure that they're creating jobs across Ontario and across the country.
So again, more confusion. So before it was just 49,000 cars coming to Canada, just being shipped here. Then it was they're going to make cars here. Then it was, no, it's just 49,000 cars. That's all it is. We're not going to make cars here. And then Melanie Joly says that they're going to make cars here. Which is it? Which is it? And how do they pop up these factories? Do they just pop up, or does GM just turn over the keys and say, hey, you know what? You can take our factory. You can make the cars there. No problem. And then you can compete with us and you can send them. I don't know. I have no idea what she's talking about.
But also, like, well, I've got two things to say. One is, why does she keep being put in front of a camera? Like, do the Liberals not realise that it's a problem? It's a pretty serious problem. It's not just a problem for the Liberal Party. That's a problem for Canada. And yet they insist on letting her go free. I mean, there was that rumour, wasn't there, that she was going to be booted and sent off to Paris to be the ambassador to France, but that didn't materialise. She rubbished that herself. Said she's got no intention of doing it, but that would have made sense. It's crazy that she's, like, what is she, number 4, number 5 in this government or something like that? Absolutely crackers. But the other thing I wanted to say was, just the way that she very briefly, patronisingly, and, you know, with no real feeling, no true feeling, I don't think, mentioned the people that have lost their jobs. She just doesn't seem to care. She doesn't seem to understand what it means. And how many times now as industry minister has she done that, where she's like, you know, these people lost their jobs and that's unacceptable. However, now onto some stupid political point or Donald Trump or something like that. It's just not really acceptable. You'd expect her to have a little bit more empathy, especially like the Liberal Party, the party of empathy. That's their favourite word, isn't it? And the progressive left. And I just feel like it's lacking. Even Doug Ford, he didn't seem to really, he didn't seem to clock how big of a deal it was. Like, that's so bad. It's so tragic. It's like 1,200 people. And, you know, I have to say it again. Melanie Joly, if she gets paid every 2 weeks, she gets about $300,000 of your money every year. If she gets paid every 2 weeks, that means that she's getting, like, today probably, Friday. I like to point this out. She will look on her phone, on her BMO app or whatever it is, and she'll see $11,000 drop into her account every 2 weeks. Obviously, then she has to pay tax, but $11,000 for that. And then she gets there, she stands in front of a camera and says, oh, it's unacceptable that they lost their jobs. I don't know. I mean, I think it's unacceptable that we chuck more than $11,000 at her every 2 weeks to do this.
I have a message for the 500,000 auto workers in Ontario. You've heard it all. You listen to the rhetoric, but look at the actions. Do you trust them with your jobs? Because they won't kill the EV mandate. You can see the truth of it. Look to the United States. Look what's going on. They're building new factories. The stock prices have surged. They're making the vehicles that they're profitable with. Nobody in the planet, including the Chinese, nobody on this planet other than Tesla makes profit making EVs. Nobody. Not one, not any of the Chinese automakers, none of the domestic. There's only one company in the world that makes profit on electric cars, and that's Tesla. And Tesla, to the liberals, is the devil. Elon Musk is the devil. And according to some, even in the Labour Party in the United Kingdom, is an idiot. But these are the people that you're supposed to take serious. You're supposed to take these people. You're supposed to take Melanie Joly seriously. Well, she's actually got the control of 500,000, some of the best paying jobs in Canada. She has 500,000 best paying jobs in Canada at her decision-making skill when they cannot kill the EV mandate. And you ask yourself, is the ideological decision there more important than the 500,000 jobs? Is that what we're doing? Because Melanie Joly thinks so, Stephen Guilbeault thinks so, and obviously Mark Carney does, because they don't even have the same message. Like, how come they can't sit in a room and come up with the same message? One says it's just 49,000 cars, one says we're building EVs. What is the message? Because every one of these things infuriates the U.S. automakers. Jim Farley from Ford says we need Canada, so why don't we work on that? Jim Farley, there's this thing that we can work on. Jim Farley, can we phone up Jim Farley and say, how can we work together? How can we work together? How can we make this happen? Because Jim Farley has some weight. He runs Ford. Mary Barra said, what did she say yesterday? She's the GM she's the CEO of GM. Yeah. She said, it's a bad decision, Canada. Melanie Joly seems to think it's a good decision.
Madness.
I don't know where I put my money. I don't know where I put my money. I put my money with Jim Farley, Mary Barra, and these two guys here, Jim and Ian. I'd put it here because they have no idea what they're talking about. None whatsoever.
No, it's certainly not Joly, and that's when it becomes the most obvious. The likes of Carney, and even to a lesser extent Champagne and some others, they're smooth enough operators to get away with it. She's not smooth. That's the last word you would use to describe her. She's like the weak underbelly of the Liberal government, because it becomes so obvious that she doesn't know what she's talking about. It becomes so obvious what she's doing, I think, and it's a big weakness for them. It's a big weakness for us, for the country, because they lead us. But yeah, the GM story, GM CEO saying that no idea what the Canadians are doing, don't understand this. Why have they gone to China? Talking about how important it is to like reindustrialize North America and all the rest of it. That was a Wall Street Journal exclusive, that story. And the Wall Street Journal even, I think it was like the last line in their story, was something along the lines of, the Canadian government provided scant information about this deal with China. It's like, yeah, thank you. That feels like vindication, because that's the Americans looking at the Canadian political realm, and they're like, what? All right, there's no information here. It's like, yeah, that's what we have to deal with every single day, every single announcement, especially under Mark Carney. I long for the detail provided by Justin Trudeau and Chrystia Freeland. They used to give so much more information, so much more detail. Whereas with Carney, it's a mess. So in a sense, I can't blame them for getting their wires crossed, because none of it makes sense. There's no information.
They control the media. They control access to them. They are the threat to democracy. They are literally the threat to democracy. And that logo right there, though it takes $1.5 billion a year tax dollars, is not doing its work. It is actually a propaganda arm that keeps the Liberals in power. What they're doing to the auto sector, there should be outrage in Ontario over this. And Flip Flop Ford owns a lot of this, because he doesn't even speak clearly on it. He's now coming to the realization about the EV mandate. Well, maybe he should watch this show more often, Doug, because you are letting down those auto workers.
But he knows, though. Doug Ford knows about the EV mandate, and he did mention it a while ago. He just sort of went quiet. I guess part of his attempt to seduce and charm Mark Carney. But once that failed, he started to shout about it again, didn't he? And it's worse with Doug Ford because he knows the damage that it's doing, but he's playing along with this Chinese ruse. He's playing along with this idea that, like, I don't know, BYD or something is going to open a massive factory in Ontario, which is a stretch.
Somebody's suggesting we should go to a different time slot. Tim Hodgson is the tout guy. Tim Hodgson, Tim the tout. But Evan Solomon likes to give him a run for his money every now and then. Let's listen to Evan Solomon here. You got to remember, Evan Solomon was a failed CBC reporter, fired from CBC for doing none other than art dealings with Mark Carney when he was the Bank of England governor. Art dealing. And then worked for Eurasia Group, where Gerald Butts and Mark Carney's wife worked. And now an MP and in charge of AI. Can you imagine that? Listen to him. He seems like the most intelligent guy on this planet.
We're making life more affordable for 12 million Canadians, allowing them to put food on their table. Mr. Speaker, the party of no likes to block. We are building affordable homes. They're blocking it. We're building safe streets. They're blocking it. We're building a chance for 12 million families to put food on their table with a 25% increase in the GST. They're blocking it. When will they stop blocking and start building?
Member for Funny Royal.
That's good. You hand out some crumbs and you're giving Canadians a chance to buy food? Like, you can't even, just get rid of the industrial carbon tax, get rid of the packaging tax, free our resources. You're blocking prosperity to Canada with this nothing but rhetoric and nonsense and absolute rhetoric and nonsense. And I don't know what's that green thing on his jacket for. I have no idea what's going on there.
I don't know for sure, but I've seen something similar for something like international Islamophobia awareness or something like that. I think that's what it is, because green is like the color of Islam, very closely associated with Islam, and I think that's what it is. I'm 50-60%.
Evan Solomon also said that Canada is going to lead in AI. He said it's leading in AI. And he also said that Canada's going to build cars. Like they showed off that one car that one time. I think it was $20 million that one university spent on building one car. And that Canada's going to be a hotbed of building cars. And I'm just like, these people have no idea what it takes to build a car. No idea.
It's so funny, isn't it? The things that they don't know, but think they know and think that they can achieve, think that they can do. Well, just build our own car.
Sometimes I wish Blanchette there wasn't just all about separatists, because he might make a really good leader for Canada if he cared about all of Canada, because he's probably sometimes got some really good common sense and some really good points. Let's listen to what he says, because he's one of the few that's called out this meta thing. Let's listen to Blanchette.
Est-ce que c'est une bonne chose que le gouvernement ait commencé à reparler à Meta pour réintroduire les nouvelles sur Facebook et que ça pourrait inclure un recul encore?
Tout dépend des termes. C'est un sujet extraordinairement important parce que, et combien de fois on l'a soulevé, là? Moi, j'ai envie de dire à Meta ceci. Les Québécois sont des grands utilisateurs des réseaux sociaux appartenant à Meta. Pour l'instant, ce qu'on y voit davantage, c'est de la désinformation. En l'absence d'information par des médias crédibles, on y voit une avalanche de désinformation à laquelle trop de gens adhèrent. C'est dangereux. Une juridiction comme le Canada ou comme le Québec a le droit d'encadrer l'exploitation commerciale des réseaux sociaux comme des médias en général. Et la fin de ce raisonnement-là, c'est que...
And that's good. That's good. Because he's basically saying they want to have their own meeting. They don't trust the Liberals in their meeting with Meta. And that there's a lack of credible media on Facebook right now. Is CBC on there? Is that what he said? CBC? Is CBC on Facebook? They need to let independent media.
They're the ones that paid for ads, didn't they? So that they could get on there. I'm not sure CBC.
They need to let independent media back. They need to repeal Bill C-18, the Online News Act. It is one of the things blocking the free trade agreement with the United States of America. And it's absolutely ridiculous what Mark Miller and the Liberals have done to media in Canada. They basically crushed them, and they're at the begging bowl. We saw that with the sausages. A lot of people know when we talk about sausage rolls here, and with pizza, how the media is so subservient. And right now, they've got their walking orders to go after everybody for treason. And, you know, I'm sure they'll be coming after us pretty soon, too. But here's Mark Miller. He's in charge. Ian has sent him several emails to talk about the Online News Act. Mark Miller, not interested in talking to Ian, though. But Heritage Minister Mark Miller, in a letter to MPs, says political organizers are using the internet to undermine Canadians' trust in the public institutions. But he didn't identify him by name. I don't know if he was talking about CBC and CTV and Global. Disinformation presents a serious challenge. Politically, ideologically, and financially motivated actors are leveraging digital platforms to spread false and misleading information. You're doing a hell of a job doing that yourself. You're doing that.
It's a perfect description of CBC.
and himself, right?
Yeah,
Cabinet must promote access to trustworthy news. When he says that, he must mean news approved by the Liberals. Is that what you mean? The needs of protecting public interest. All they want to do is censor. They do not believe in democracy, not even a little bit. And listen to this. Parliament in 2019 approved almost $600 million media bailout that currently pays federally approved newsrooms a yearly rebate of $29,750 per employee. That's what I've been saying. They pay, and that's why everybody's at the begging bowl. And then the CBC, they don't get just paid. They're basically at the trough. I mean, the other outlets get some crumbs, and that's why CTV laid off 4,100 employees. But CBC just stick their face right in the trough. That's why David Cochrane can espouse like that, and Rosie Barton and all that. And then even Justin Trudeau once said, he said, the media is good to me because I pay them to be good to me. I gave them 600 million reasons to be good to me. They don't even care. It's just right there. What's the guy's name? Talabid, what's his first name? Talib,
I'm not sure.
The one that what Terry Newman there, when he wrote on her thing, we pay your salary, the MP from Langley.
Or Talib Noor Mohammed.
Yeah, he basically said to her, know your place, we pay your salary. So she's pinned that. You go find her on, she writes for the National Post opinion pieces. Go find her on X, and she's pinned it to the top as a reminder what the Liberals think of a free and independent media in Canada. And this is what the media in Canada does. They're activist media here, the ones that the government-funded ones, the crippled at CBC. Look at this. This is the piece they put out. I think this is CTV put this piece out there because Bruce Springsteen did a song about ICE. This is what they promote on an ongoing basis. They're activists. They're not even media in Canada anymore. They're just activists. And here's a piece from Terry Newman right here. Canada is full of oikophobes. That's a new word. Oikophobes. There you go. Education, media, and government here have neutered themselves in self-effacing condition. That's what we do. It's absolutely crazy. And Ian's right. If you want to see what's coming for Canada, just look over in the UK. It's in the future. The future is coming here.
That's why I know what the word oikophobe means, because of the British context. Oikophobia is like hatred of yourself or of your home, of your own people, of your own culture. I know all about that because I grew up saturated with it.
And here's another example of it. Listen to this and see if you can stomach this. Let's play this clip here from CTV.
Generally speaking, in the history of campaigns, Liberals have always campaigned kind of based on hope, whereas people like Pierre Poilievre, and not the Conservative Party, but people like Pierre Poilievre campaign on fear. Generally speaking, in the history of...
That's it. Did you almost choke?
Imagine saying that with a straight face. Let's get real. I mean, we could do a more like intellectual analysis of that, but just imagine for a minute. How hard would that be to say that and just be completely pole-faced? I am being serious. After the election that we just had, we literally had Pierre Poilievre going out there to rallies surrounded by several thousand people, talking about a hope for Canada and a hope that people can buy a home and a hope that people can get groceries and all the rest of it. While we had Mark Carney going around talking about the Americans are going to get you. They're going to kill you. Like, I mean, we have to just say it bluntly, I think, sometimes.
This is how they get away with it, though. She's actually, and on there lots, she's a CTV News political analyst. So she puts this out there to the ones that are watching CTV or CBC, eating the pablum like it was the gospel, and just then they're given the words treason and different words so they can go on Facebook and social media and do what Mark Miller says, spread misinformation and disinformation. These are the people. Poilievre's campaign was run on hope, and the Liberals, 100%, and the CBC knows it, was run on a fear campaign. They do it every day. Go to the CBC website right now. I guarantee you it's going to be full of fear-mongering.
And it has been, how long has it been like that? I mean, seriously, we've got the new thing now, ICE. You're talking about how they get their words. Treason is going to be this sort of half of this week. That's the word for that. But ICE is the big one of the moment, isn't it? And all the stories they've run on ICE, they've made it seem like ICE are, or these immigration officers are literally just fascists. They're just a load of like black shirts walking around beating people up that they don't like the look of. Is that not spreading fear then? That's hope, I guess.
Yeah, the best thing you do, Heidi, is not watch CTV, CBC. Turn them off. Unfollow them. If you want to get a fill of them, we'll highlight their propaganda here for you, so you don't have to get there. And share this far and wide. Put this on Facebook, because we can't put it on our Facebook. We had an audience of 200,000 on Facebook and Meta, and on Instagram. They took it away from us. And so share this. You can share this on there. We can't share it on ours, but you can share it on yours. And share it, and especially drop it on any of the other news outlets, and any Liberal MP, drop it on there for them so that they can watch real news.
But by the way, I just wanted to step back, if I could, for a sec, to the story that we were doing about Mark Miller and the media, and now everyone's lost trust. If you go down to the bottom there, the publisher of the Tyee, I don't know if you're all out there familiar with the Tyee. It's a British Columbia. It's a BC sort of, I would say it's extreme progressivism is their ideology. It's like The Guardian with the few barriers that The Guardian has in place just removed and burned and celebrated. Anyway, the publisher of the Tyee says, Canada's facing not one crisis, but two. One is financial and the other is a crisis of mistrust. And then goes on to say, Canadians expressing unprecedented distrust towards the news and the reporters who deliver it. What? I mean, the Tyee, taxpayer funded. Why is that, do you think, Mr. Tyee, Mr. Fish? Could it possibly be because of the kind of insane, mad articles that the Tyee puts out about, for example, decriminalization of drugs? I mean, the way that they've referred to Hamas's mass racist murder on October the 7th, 2023, as if it was just some kind of military operation, and then the Israelis just counterattacked that military opposite. Like, why do you think people have lost trust in the media? Come on. And the Tyee, by the way, does not present itself as an opinion, even though obviously it is. It's like an opinion magazine, but they present themselves as news, and that's how they presented themselves to the federal government, which has thrown money at them, your money, taxpayers' money, at them to keep them supported. That's why people, or one of the many reasons why people don't trust journalism. I mean, in this country specifically, it's happening all over the place, but specifically here. It just, that lack of self-awareness, find it hard to get my head around it.
Yes, Diana, drop it in there. And ask them to do an interview. I was interviewed on The National. So we'll ask them to come on.
The CTV guy, didn't you? The head of CTV in BC.
Global.
Was that global? Yeah, that was global.
Yeah,
what's the difference?
And we were best of friends, so I started calling him out on LinkedIn on some of his stories. I said, this looks like crap. This looks like crap. And he was like, oh, I'll fix that, Jim. And then he went dark because I was pointing out too many of them. He's like, okay. I'll fix that. He's, yeah. So,
by the way, just the tie. I will say, sorry, just to finish off this knot. The tie. I'm totally cool with the tie. By the way, I don't mean to sort of sound like I despise and want to destroy the tie. It's great. It's great. It's good left wing. Opinion. They do good left wing opinion pieces, like polemics. But I'm just, why should that be funded by the taxpayer? Number one, and number two, why would they masquerade as being some kind of objective news site? They're an opinion. They're a set of activist left wingers who want to spread their opinions. They're proselytizing the progressive left.
Yeah, you can share us in Facebook groups. That'd be great. Put us everywhere. And then I think Diana said she's going to put us in CTV comments. That would be appreciated. We would love that. Another one from Holly Rowan and Blacklocks. The government hired foreign students. We don't need our youth working, Canadian youth, but the records show federal managers hired more than 800 foreign students while lamenting high jobless rates for Canadian students. Who cares, right? The Treasury Board noted federal employers were supposed to hire Canadians first. Those are just guidelines, right? Treasury Board does not typically employ temporary foreign workers or temporary residents. The Public Service Employment Act gives preference to eligible veterans first. Remember the one we did that story a while ago? They hardly hired any veterans. And that's the inquiry said in 2024, the most recent data available, because they were really slow with that. A total of 889 foreign students were hired by the Government of Canada. Jobs included tour guides, gift shop assistants, federal museums, researchers at CBC. Researchers at CBC. CBC couldn't run an ad to ask if any of the, like 10% plus unemployed students could maybe want to come work for the CBC. Kitchen staff, stage hands, and IT staff at Canada Revenue Agencies.
It's just, they're very good at intros, Blacklocks. And I would just say, read the intro again. Records show federal managers hire more than 800 foreign students a year while lamenting high jobless rates for Canadian students. That's how you write. That's how you write an intro, an opening sentence. I wish more members of the Canadian media knew how to write like that, because that just sums it up beautifully, doesn't it?
One sentence. And then food banks in Canada in 2025 report to Commons. More than a quarter of Canadian students surveyed were so poor they skipped meals. 28% of young adults said they skipped a meal due to lack of money. 20% had access to food or community organizations at no cost, nearly double the rate for the general population. But hey, why give them a job? Why? Give it to somebody else. Like, why would you give a Canadian a job?
What a disgusting... I want to get that sentence out of my eyeballs. 28% of young adults said they skipped a meal due to lack of money.
Then go back to that.
Go somewhere. Should we put that on a monolith?
Rewind it though. Rewind the tape there to Evan Solomon. How he stood up there in the House of Commons bragging how he gave the chance to 12 million people to get a couple of $100, and that's going to fix everything. Evan Solomon, hang your head in shame. Hang your head in shame for your gaslighting. Mark Carney could fix all of this tomorrow if he just cared enough to do it. Just cared enough to do it. Here's another one. You talked about this yesterday, the Westminster system. The Liberals don't really like the Westminster system. They said they complained Cabinet is unable to pass most of its bills despite winning. Did they win? Not sure if they won. The 2025 general election. No, they won a minority government. They did not win a mandate. The Conservative Party has done nothing but stand in the way. Notice how they only point out the Conservatives. No. Nobody, so there's Conservatives, a few NDPs, one Green person, and then the Bloc. But this is just a continual, just attack points. They would rather have and that's what Carney wants. That's why he's getting the guys to cross the floor. He doesn't want any kind of accountability. So they blame the Westminster system. Well, they blame the Conservatives.
Yeah, because... Well, in another way to look at it, not just the system, they blame the people, in a sense, aren't they? How dare the people have the audacity to not give them a majority so that they can do whatever they want?
Their
How
biggest
dare plebs vote for other parties and send their representatives to Ottawa.
Their biggest mistake was decimating the NDP to the point where they couldn't even come to committee, because that's the real problem. We highlighted this way back in the election and said that is their biggest weakness in committee, where they can't just paper over everything with a vote. They just can't run away. So now they have to get things through committee, and the NDP's not there to help them because they don't get a place at the table. So now they got to get it past the Conservatives and the Bloc. So now they want to see the paperwork. Like Blanchette wants to see the paperwork. Poilievre wants to see the paperwork. They want to see the information. Liberals don't want to provide. How many things have we not seen the papers for? Like the 250 plus million that alleged that Stephen Guilbeault funneled into his own companies, and they wouldn't provide the papers. How many of those are there? When the NDP Jagmeet Singh just said, yeah, no investigation, no investigation, no investigation. That's what they don't like. Accountability. And here's your Monty Python one for you. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Remember that old saying, wink, wink, nudge, nudge? I think that was in Life of Brian, was it? Or wink, wink, nudge, nudge?
I mean, Holy Grail. I mixed them up.
That was a Holy Grail, maybe. Promise, ID plan is voluntary. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Digital ID is a convenience that will never be mandatory in Canada, says Cabinet. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. The Department of Employment overseeing digital ID at a development cost of billions said it had no plans to force Canadians to use it. Then why do it? Billions. ArriveCan was almost, like just over $50 million. Now they're going to do digital credentials are in use as additional way to authenticate users, but they are a voluntary method for accessing Government Canada services. The program has a cost, get ready for it, $6.6 billion to date, according to the 2025 minister's memo. What's that?
Unbelievable.
And initially, though, this is how they do it. Initially, it was only 1.8 billion in 2017, and then they increased it to 2.2 billion in 2022, and then in 2024, it's 6.6 billion. That's like the cars. It's only 49,000 cars from China. Well, I mean, they got 100,000 cars, so you got to sell those. So let's get those out of there. Oh, they're going to build a factory? Oh yeah, just like, why don't you just be honest about what you're doing?
They're going to tariff canola at really high rates again. Oh, we'll give them another 50,000. But there's no reason not to think like that, because they repeatedly deceive the people, don't they? They repeatedly do that. And I just wanted to point out, we often make comparisons, don't we, with Britain. This is the exact same rationale put out by the British government, which has recently just taken quite a slap on its attempt to get an ID card through. Online digital ID, whatever. They said that it will be completely voluntary and it's just for accessing certain services and things like that. It's just going to make your life easier.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Nobody believed them. And so there was huge opposition to it. But I don't know. I mean, I know there is certainly opposition to it here. You've interviewed John Carpet, I think. Didn't he have a big rant about it? Yeah. But it doesn't seem to be quite as wide an opposition as it was in Britain. There was like everybody hated it in Britain, but I don't know how serious the opposition is here.
I think they're used to Monty Python and the wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
People still, and you say they're used to it. I don't know. Are people in Canada? Are people do they really take politicians at their word when they say things like 49,000 EVs, guys? I promise that's it. Trust me, bro, just 49,000 EVs. Like, do you really trust them? Or when they tell you something like, oh yeah, this is going to cost 1.8 billion. Do you really trust them? When they tell you about that high-speed rail line between Quebec and Toronto, and they say it's going to cost this much money, do you really trust them when they say things like that? I mean, come on. They're not to be trusted, are they? Every single promise that they've made of that kind, they've broken. So why would you trust them?
I can tell right away when I'm talking to somebody that I haven't met before whether they consume too much of the state propaganda, because they're very much the most uninclusive people. They have the most hate in them, and they most want to. They're deputized to go out and root out evil And there's a society that did that before. But instead of getting rid of the industrial carbon tax, instead of getting rid of the packaging for the food packaging tax and the clean fuel regulation tax and getting our energy to the, we have time while 1,200 auto sector workers are being laid off, Mark Carney had time to go and debut Canada's hottest TV series.
Both of you right here, please. Give each other a hug. You gotta do the hug. Come on. Looking at the camera.
That's good. I can't anymore. That's good. That's good.
He's
we got time for that.
He's absolutely loving it, isn't he? And
there's later in the clip.
Really chubby, Mark Carney. In his speech, he was just cracking all kinds of jokes. And
well, we're gonna play it. Yeah, we're gonna play it. Okay. His wife showed up too, Diana Fox Carney. Anyway, let's play the clip here and listen carefully.
Knows that this is a story that almost didn't get told. We've heard how studios south of the border were interested in Jacob's vision, but wanted to, shall we say, tone it down. Yeah, what? What? Exactly. What's the point of that? So Jacob did the right thing. He did the smart thing. He came home to Canada. He came home. He came home to a nation that celebrates what makes us different. He came home to a country that values teamwork over going it alone. Jacob walked away from a bigger budget, a bigger platform, bigger promotional reach. He came for a studio that let him tell his story the way he imagined. Well done, Bell Media. Good call. Heated rivalry is now Crave's. It's interesting, Crave. Heated rivalry. Heated rivalry is now Crave's most watched original series. In the first week after its debut, viewership grew 400%. The average episode has already been rewatched by 1/3 of its viewers. Blueberry smoothie sales are skyrocketing across the world.
That's good. I mean, again, he's picking stats that don't have real numbers to it. We could say that. Like, I mean, I could say some numbers here that actually are more real. Our viewership on this show has gone up, in a year, it's gone up 1,000,000%.
Yeah, you can mess around with percentages like that.
You can play games all day long, right?
You can't make a political point, can you, in the same way he can, and try and pander to a part of the electorate, pretty much. Try and boost their prospects.
Yeah. I mean, he went on, in that speech, he went on, like on the typical stuff, the identity politics. He played that card and he played it well. I mean, that was the, somebody gave us some sausage rolls. There you go. Thanks, Charles.
Charlie Mack. He's the real sausage roll guy.
Here's the point on this, and this is the point. Here's the Canadian Media Producers Association saying it right to Mark Carney. They say it out loud. They don't even care.
Prime Minister, know that every person in this room and the 180,000 people who work in this industry have your back, just as we know that you have ours.
That's good.
That's an awkward thing to say, isn't it?
I think William there set me straight there. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Say no more, say no more. You got to add the end piece at the end there, right? I forgot about that piece there. Thanks, William, for that. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Say no more, say no more.
Well, that's kind of what he just did, isn't it? Like, we got consters.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Say no more, say no more. Yikes. It's just
like I feel like no one else is going to do it, so I might as well do it and say, does nobody else think it's a bit weird when a straight man giggles like a schoolgirl about gay romance, gay relationships? It's kind of like, why? Why don't you it's like funny to him as well. And the way he tried, because Wab Canoe said something about it, didn't he? And then he said, everybody, just imagine for a second the heated rivalry between Wab Canoe and Doug Ford. So in other words, imagine them having, carnal relations. And he was just like giggling away like a schoolgirl. Like, it's just, and this is the guy who I stand for LGBT rights while taking the piss out of gay people, basically. I just shut up about it, would be my advice. Just stop talking about it.
Faith over fear. Is Faith, are you Faith, is that your first name? Is that a female name? Is it a male name? But anyway, I like cabbage rolls. My mother, Hungarian, used to make the best cabbage rolls ever. Who doesn't love a good cabbage roll?
Prefer goulash.
Goulash is pretty good too. With cabbage rolls. I gotta say cabbage rolls. You gotta get good cabbage rolls, right? Anyway, making me hungry now. Cineplex Corporation. What's that?
Thank you, Jane.
Cineplex, nation's largest chain theater, ordered to pay back $38 million, plus costs for breach of the Competition Act for the online booking fee, $1.50, $1.50, adds up quick. That's all those donations add up quick, right? Add up quick. As soon as we get enough money, we're gonna hire somebody to book a lot of interviews. That's one of the things, because we spend a lot of time getting the show ready. But we do definitely need somebody to reach out and do a lot of the interview scheduling as well, right? So there's actually a team now starting to do the show. And we do thank everybody that shows up, because we do have a team. We have the person on the board that runs the board back there. We have Andrea, our producer, that puts all the clips. We are on TikTok as well. If you go to TikTok, follow us on TikTok. Can you put our TikTok up there? We're on TikTok. We got our own X handle. We just started out on X2 Now Media News, I believe. If you can pull that up as well to show people. So, rice and bananas, hey, we'll take anything. And then the way the world is going like this, and we're going to fight for a better Canada. That's what we're going to do every damn day. We're going to fight for a better Canada. And look at this, the elites, though. This is Franco. And Franco does a lot of good work, too, just like Holly Donut Blacklocks, one of the best independent journalist organizations out there, Holly Donut Blacklocks. If you can, go there and subscribe to that. They do some of the best work. Franco also does a ton of good work. And we did that story highlighting the Governor General's wanting a private skating rink at the Redo Hall there. But she also says the Governor General is taking another raise, bringing her salary in $400,000. That doesn't include all the expenses. I mean, she has a big expense bill. And then she's up to $130,000 just for clothing. Can you imagine spending $130,000 for clothes? Can you imagine that? Can you? Like you and I with these ties. This is like a big budget for the show here. We got ties and a jacket. Like that was a big budget item for us. And she gets a $150,000 pension. And then she can bill you up to $200,000 every year for the rest of her life, and up to 6 months after her death. Well, that's cool. It's just absolutely atrocious, right? Just the entitlement for a role that does basically nothing, in a ceremonial role. And she wants that private skating rink. Remember she said she wanted that private skating rink? And I can't remember, was it $6 million or something? She wanted a private skating rink. So then she was going to bring some underprivileged kids to skate there every now and then. There's tons of public. Put the money into a public skating rink so that underprivileged kids can skate every day, not at your whim, so that you can act like an overlord. Oh, bring in little Timmy here. And then take a photo of little Timmy.
Especially when you think about what she is. She's a proxy, really. Proxy for, like, she's not a real, she's a substitute head of state, but she's not even a real substitute head of state, because the head of state is also a proxy. He has no real power. He's got no power. She's in Canada representing him, also with no power. So it's like doubling up on the waste, really, isn't it? And
times it by the provinces. Every province has one as well. Let's remember.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's worse. And I think they also have like deputies as well, don't they? But Heidi here pointed out the 6 months after their death. Yeah, that caught my eye as well. Like there's sort of zombie benefits, zombie claims. So you can come out of the grave and come and still collect money from the taxpayer.
We're not going to play Franco rant because we're a little long in the tooth here for sure. But Franco is saying, like we talked about it. We've been talking about it since December when they were doling out the bonuses. Ottawa misses target because they don't want targets. Remember they said they wanted some targets. They said, no, we don't work like that. So everybody gets your bonus, right? $200 million in rewards for failure, funded by you. Some people didn't even show up.
I mean, you're all right about that, aren't you? Yeah, that's fine.
How are you doing? How you doing? How you doing? That's Joey from Friends. We got all the lines here. That's Joey. How you doing?
All the up-to-date modern lines from all the TV shows you kids watch.
This one here is really concerning. We're going to look into this. We're actually going to go see if we can buy a package of this. Play this clip here. Did I have the clip? No, do I? Oh, there's no link. See if you can find it. Melanie, Saskatchewan. Anyway, Melanie went and weighed the food. She picked this package of food up. It's supposed to be 224 grams. Weighed the container. The container weighed 15 grams or something like that. I'm just going to try and find it here. So the math didn't work. So the food that was supposed to be in the package didn't exist. Here we go. Let's play the clip here.
Dear Crave, all day breakfast, 255 grams. I don't know if that's with or without the tray. Here's an empty tray from the last one on my scale. Your tray weighs 15 grams. This is the breakfast that's supposed to have double sausage, which doesn't, for 220. What is going on?
You got to take the tray off of that. You're short. You're short.
I think they got more problems than the weight, to be honest, if looking at that. But
yeah, but I mean
it is. I've seen loads of videos like this, and yeah, we all know what's happening, don't we? This kind of cheap.
The thing is that a lot of people are eating it because they're cheap. You go to Walmart or wherever, and they got these things on sale, and you know, like a lot of people buy them. One, because they're, you know, like really cheap, and then convenient, I guess, as well. But the nutritional value in them is not much, and she points that out. You know, like she knows that, but that's all she can afford.
It's so shocking. I eat about once every 28 to 30 hours, not by choice.
And that's
terrible.
You know,
living like some sort of ascetic monk in the desert in the 5th century or something. It's just insane.
There's that old parable where the king walked amongst the people and learned how bad it was. Some of these elites need to walk amongst the people. Melanie Jolie needs to walk the factory floor. I don't know who she talked to at the, because I'll just bring back a point. Chrystia Freeland would go into a meeting with the 6 Canadian CEOs of the auto manufacturers, and they would come out with 2 different takeaways. Freeland would come out and say they're all in on the EV mandate. They would come out and say we got to kill the EV mandate. And this went on for years until we get to this crisis point, which is, you and I pointed out, like we're heading to a crisis. Sure enough, we're at the crisis, and the Liberals are still completely oblivious to the crisis. Melanie Jolie saying, we're going to get them jobs, we'll get them replacement jobs. Doing what? Doing exactly what, Melanie Jolie?
But it's not a crisis for them. You have to remember that. And I suppose, you know, everybody knows that, but it's worth bearing that in mind. It's not a crisis for them, and it never will be. They'll never have to live like this. They'll never have to suffer like this.
Didn't we do, Melanie Jolie's brother runs one of the transport companies that works for like Amazon and Telecom, maybe? I can't remember the name of the company, though. That hires lots of temporary foreign workers as well.
Not surprised.
Well,
somebody, by the way, mentioned Yes Minister, the TV show Yes Minister. There's also Yes Prime Minister. You might watch it in the first 10 minutes and you're like, what am I watching this for? It's kind of a bit old-fashioned, lots of posh voices, but it's superb. It's like it's a superb sort of analysis of how power really works. And it's in the Westminster system, so it's not too different in Canada. Well worth watching, because it just, you know, it's been hailed for its accuracy by politicians and by people that work in the public service in England. So yeah, if you can tolerate the very posh accents and the sort of 1980s set that they have, I would really strongly recommend everybody watches that.
Brian Lilly says, well, we've been saying it for a while, but I just want to point it out for you. Come April 1, more tax for you. January 1, CPP went up. So the average Canadian is going to pay another $250 per person, not per family. Average Canadian will pay about $250 more. And then if you want to have a drink, more tax. Every year, more tax. Every year.
I like how Brian Lilly's talking about nobles and King John and things like that. It's not just us.
Must be watching the show. There you go.
Well, hit me up, Bry Guy. We'll have you on.
I did talk to somebody from government yesterday, and they said they do watch the show. So there you are. We are getting watched. I need to talk to you about that, by the way. I had a good conversation. So we are being watched. So careful. Careful what you say. Daniel Smith comes out and endorses Pierre Poilievre, and he's at the Conservative Convention right now. We were going to go to that as well. We reached out to get credentials for it, and then nobody got back to us. That was one of the reasons I spoke to government yesterday, or some of the people in government.
Yeah, they're, Sebastian, the guy who appears on CTV that we talk about sometimes, at least he used to respond, didn't he? At least, and then he stopped responding when I don't know, they got busy. But whoever's replaced him is just absolutely garbage. Just can't do comms, doesn't understand the job, and I don't think I've had a response actually since they got the new people in.
Thanks, Chloe. You're close, right? It is Dragonfly. Yes, I remember that now. Dragonfly. Andrew Coyne shockingly brought up King John as well. Andrew Coyne, he's completely lost his rocker. Like, he was going off. I mean, he always does. Like, he's got TDS like you wouldn't believe. That guy's lost it completely. But he's on CBC all the time. Just
it's amazing that 3 people that they get on. Just like 3 Liberal Party voters, basically. But he's there for, like, supposedly, like, the right winger, isn't he? Which is just hilarious.
He has absolutely lost his mind. Like, he's got TDS. Like, Trump lives in his brain, for sure. Like, he's like not paying any rent. But the layoffs are coming, and I've said that. If you go, Ian and I did that predictions for 2026. You can go find it on my LinkedIn, or you can go back, and we've got it in our YouTube files here. You can find it, predictions 2026. We said there's going to be tons and tons of layoffs, and they're coming. So here's Amazon and Pinterest. You're going to see this in the banking industry. You're going to see a lot of it. You're going to see. So learn as much as you can. Learn as much as you can about AI and different things. Because, are you going to be standing in line waiting for the Liberals to hand you crumbs? And that's not going to go over well.
Did you see, I don't know if we're going to feature it later, but did you see that thing, Google have released a preview of one of their new, Google DeepMind, one of their new tools, where you just kind of type, not really very much, but sketch out a few words, and it basically creates like a video game.
Oh, yeah.
And you can you can say, like, you can take a picture of yourself and say, create a video game with this as the character. You can jump around, do all this kind of thing, and put it in Switzerland or something like that. Photorealistic version of a Swiss valley, and it just creates it. And, like, you can play it like a computer game. I mean, we keep getting these moments, don't we? Like, the videos were one where we start getting, like, Sora videos, and it's like, what? I think that video game one is like another one of those moments where it's kind of slapping you in the face again and again and again. It's like, this truly is real, and it's going to have a profound effect on every aspect of our lives, I think.
So gold and silver, this is a little bit of a market segment one. Gold and silver sold off today dramatically. And, I mean, if you look at the silver chart, the silver one is the skyrocketing one, is the, you call that a blow-off top maybe, or you could call it a much-needed correction, however you want to look at it. But gold's already bounced off of its lows already this morning. It was off, like, I think almost as much as $700 at some point there, but now off about 586. But I mean, it's going to look for a catalyst up or down right now. So that's the thing, what's going on here. So some people will see it as an opportunity to get in. Some people will be scared. But gold and silver decoupled there, because there's something going on with silver, right? Like, you can go find a lot of stuff. I don't want to get into too much. I used to be a technical guy. I used to trade a little bit, so I don't want to get into it.
Is it anything to do with Trump revealing his Fed nomination? Seems to be a bit of a coincidence, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, when you find a catalyst, people make excuses for it. I mean, it was waiting for a shoe to drop. When you have movements that are up this fast, this hard, you're looking. You don't want to get in the way of a train. You don't want to get in the way of a train. You want to let it run. You want to let your trade run. But you're also, algorithms do a lot of this. So as soon as it looks like it's going to sell off, guess what's get exaggerated to the bottom very fast? Because then it's just sell order, sell order, sell order. Just like, it just flushes. It's just basically a flush. And then you get this drawdown, and then there'll be buy orders in there below the market. So then they're going to play a range, and it'll tighten up and things like that. But here's the new. He's nominated Kevin Warsh as the new Fed Reserve, and this is a nomination, has to pass though. So let's play a small clip here.
You made reference to Bitcoin, and I thought I heard a little bit of condescension that people are buying Bitcoin and these things.
But doesn't it? Charlie Munger, this is 2 or 3 years before he died, Charlie Munger attacked Bitcoin. He called it evil, in part because it would begin to undermine the Fed's ability to manage the economy.
Or it could provide market discipline. Or it could tell the world that things need to be fixed.
Bitcoin does not make you nervous.
Bitcoin does not make me nervous. I can hearken back to a dinner I had.
That's enough there. So anyway, so obviously Trump picked somebody that is friendly to Bitcoin. And the Trump administration, very friendly to Bitcoin. Bitcoin sold off a bit. So again, I do the Bitcoin show. I do it with a guy here. I think we started doing the Bitcoin show around, I don't know, 50,000 or something like that. And then, and I've been a gold bug forever, silver as well. And, you know, it's, you have to, like, you should understand the market for a while before you know, jump into it. But Bitcoin sold off quite a bit right now. It's around 83,000 US. So, you know.
So as a gold bug, what's your counter argument to what I've heard a lot of lately, which is there's no point buying gold because it doesn't give you like dividends or anything. It doesn't pay you anything while you've got it. It just sits there.
Well, the biggest reason to own gold is because it's asset protection. That is the biggest reason to own gold. It is an asset protector, and I'll give you a quick story on gold. And in Roman days, an ounce of gold bought you a suit of armor, a shield, a sword, and all your armor. In 1929, when gold was pegged to $35 an ounce, gold would buy you a suit, a watch, your armor of the modern day armor, a suit, shoes, tie, $35. Right now, in Canadian dollars, gold is like $6,500. Buys you a pretty nice suit, doesn't it? Nice watch, nice tie. And then if you take that in dollars, and we just go back to like the American dollar in 1929, buy you quite a bit, $1, right? 35 of them buy you a nice suit. $35 today won't even buy you a pair of underwear. So gold is an asset protector. It is an insurance policy. It's not meant to be a capital appreciation thing. It's meant to be an asset protector, right? It's meant to hold value. There you go, Clojo. It's meant to hold value. It is, so one of the rules of thumb was always put 10% of whatever you have in gold. And the best way to buy gold is what I used to do, is just buy a little bit each month, dollar cost average into it. So there's going to be high months, low months, high months, low months, and dollar cost average into it. You can do the same thing with Bitcoin, dollar cost average into it. So you don't really care whether it's this much or this much. If you believe in the future in technology and you believe in what Bitcoin's going to do, and I would say to people, Wealthsimple, if you don't have a Wealthsimple account, that's the best account to have right now. And we have a link in there, and you get $25 if you use our link. You put it, it's in yesterday's thing, we'll put it in today's. Use that link, open an account. You can buy gold in there, you can buy Bitcoin in there, and you can buy stocks. No transaction fees for stocks. So that instead of buying a $10 coffee, you can buy $10 worth of Tesla. And then if stock goes up 12 or whatever the number is, you get the difference. Whereas if you do this in a typical Canadian bank, you're going to pay a $7 transaction fee or $9 transaction fee in and out. And if you only buy $10 worth of stock has to triple before you make a dime, what makes Wealthsimple amazing for kids and for young people, I mean. And max out your TFSA. That's the only non-taxable thing, your gift you get. Now is from Stephen Harper. So do that. We'll put that in the comments there. So And there, if you use our code, you'll get 25 bucks as soon as you put some money in that account, and then you can trade all that stuff. And then no transaction fees, no banking fees, no nothing. So get rid of, if you're still paying banking fees, get out. Get out of them. Get out of them. A little bit here. We're going to get through some stuff real quick here. We're actually going quite long here. Ian and I like to talk, obviously. Record number of overdoses in BC as spread of animal sedative leads to very disturbing scenes. Paramedics in BC logged 256 overdoses on January 21st, according to BC Emergency Health Services. Very unusual, very disturbing. The BC Centre of Disease Control said the drug is a new arrival in the illegal street supply and being mixed with fentanyl. And it's acting very oddly. It's very traumatic for people. Yeah.
I mean, they were talking about Trail in the town of, or city of Trail, whatever it is. Like they had a massive episode with it, and it was, yeah, sounded very bleak. People just like sleeping in the streets, even though it was freezing cold and stuff, just like, you know, totally lost their all their energy.
Thanks, Diana. We appreciate that you could watch us. We're trying to bring truth. That's one of the things we're trying to do. If you could share this as many places as you can, that'd be great. Truth will set us free. Shine a light on it. I used to work with somebody in government, and she was really good. So some of the old people in government, the bureaucrats, are really good. And she said, before she passed, she said, Jim, find a flashlight and shine it on them and watch the rats scurry. And that's what the Liberals have done a really good job of blocking the light. The CBC is the block of the light. They are the blockers of the light. We bring the light. Let the sun shine in. I'm going to sterilize them. More Epstein documents about to drop. Get ready. And this is a lot, actually. 2,000 videos, 180,000 images, 3 million pages. Like, this guy wasn't a CIA op or what? Like, that's a lot of documentation. Let's play this little clip here.
It's out now. Because we assembled that, didn't we? Or you assembled this document this morning, but they've now been released. And there's a few things. Prince Andrew's wife, Sarah Ferguson, ex-wife, I think now, well, whatever she is, referred to Epstein as the brother I've always wished for. That's one of the things that has come out of it. And also show that he was denied entry into Canada in 2018. Epstein was.
There you go.
But the journalists and everyone else will be going through this. Like that's the tip of the iceberg, because there's so many documents and they do it in such a like clumsy way. They just chuck them out there. So you've got to through them all.
Has Bill booked his flight? Which Bill? Hey, both bills? All the bills? Oh my. Did I say that? We can play a little clip here. Actually, it's no point. The guy just tells you that they're dropping all these files. Anyway. Fetterman. Here's John Fetterman, Democrat. Probably soon to be kicked out Democrat. Listen to him.
I was cheering to bomb the Iranian nuclear facilities. Can you just imagine if the Democrats, if we were in charge at that point, you know, it's very likely that Iran could have acquired a nuclear bomb. We try to pretend and forget that thing. And I don't care if it's a Republican or I'm in a different party. What accomplished there by striking the nuclear facilities absolutely made.
John Fetterman. Trump tightening the noose on Cuba. Marco Rubio, former Cuban. Marco Rubio is, they're getting a lot of praise around the world. It's probably, I know you would you say Thomas Jefferson was better? Would you say it was better?
It's not just you, is it? Loads of people have been saying the greatest, some are saying the greatest Secretary of State of all time. But that happens to be a job that a lot of amazing people have done over the years, including Thomas Jefferson. Yeah.
Marco, they're cutting off the supply of oil, and they say that Cuba may only have 15 to 20 days of oil left.
I read an article in the Canadian press, which was all, I mean, you won't be surprised by this, but it's all about how...
I can guess. I can even guess.
So evil that the Americans are doing this, and, you know, we should actually we should keep our good relationship with the Cubans, and maybe they'll eventually transition to a social democracy, like as they have in Europe. Just like,
What?
It's a communist dictatorship. I mean, it's a geriatric dictatorship of these stupid, loathsome old men that have no idea what they're doing, and they keep their people in poverty. And then we have Canadian press running articles.
Do you know how bad it is?
They might be removed from power.
When I was when I was in getting my accounting, and then my friend of mine graduated with me. He went and got a job with Sherritt Gordon at the time in a nickel mine in Cuba. So that he worked in the nickel mine in Cuba. And then so they paid the workers in Cuba. You get ready for this? They paid them with chickens. So they had chickens actually on the balance sheet of the mine. So they would get paid in chickens.
What, live chickens?
Live chickens, yeah.
Or did they have a little, battery or something? Where did they procure these chickens?
They had a chicken coop, and then they would pay the workers in chickens. And meanwhile, Sherritt Gordon would reap the profits, and they would pay the people chickens.
Wow.
So there's a reason that a lot of these places, like these kind of dictatorships and stuff like that, is because you can really impoverish the people. And you make sure that the higher ups do really well. And then there's a reason that Sherritt Gordon changed its name to Sherritt too, because they had to split the company off because of sanctions way back when too, right? And because of the nickel mine in Cuba.
Somebody's saying here that they'd like to be paid in chickens here as well, given the cost of groceries.
At some point, it'd be worth more than the Canadian dollar. A chicken.
We're gonna, because that's what I mean. That is what happens to a completely failed society and a failed economy, is that they revert to pre-currency times. They revert to a barter economy.
And I'm not making it up. That was
years ago.
That was 30 years ago, though. But chickens, and we used to trade stories because we all ended up in different places. We all worked different places. I ended up doing northern audits in a snowmobile shop there, and they fired up the snowmobiles, and I was upstairs freezing, and they had dogs there, and I convinced the dog to be my friend, so the dog would lay on my feet, so my feet weren't freezing while I was doing the work.
Wow.
Entrepreneur. Don Lemon got arrested. Don Lemon. Oh no, Don. Don, the failed CNN anchor, got fired at CNN and has been trying to he's tried to do the same thing as Chris Cuomo did, right? Chris Cuomo also fired from CNN over his dealings with his brother, Governor Cuomo, who lost the election to a communist. Oh, hilarious.
They don't like to be called communists. Yeah.
Right.
They find that offensive.
Anyway, Don Lemon, as somebody says, happy Don Lemon Day. But Don Lemon has been walking around New York now with a mic jamming in people's faces and stuff like that and asking questions. He's trying to be relevant because nobody cares. Don Lemon got that big break. Elon Musk gave him that break. Elon Musk gave him that break. He gave him a creator account on X and gave him the interview. And then Don Lemon just couldn't get the CNN out of his head and went on and attacked Elon and even asked about his medical prescriptions and that. And Elon, his response was, classic Elon. You got one question left. I think it was one question. You got 2 minutes left. You better make it good. That was it. Just cold as ice. You got one question left. Better make it good. That was the end of the interview. And he fired Don Lemon from X. He just said, you can go take your stuff somewhere else. And then Don Lemon tried to sue Elon. Elon's got a few lawyers.
Yeah. It's unfortunate that he chose Don Lemon, though, because it was around about that time where he got like Tucker Carlson, didn't he? And he wanted somebody from the left so that he could have like a conversation.
Yeah, he was trying to be, yeah.
Yeah, it's just so unfortunate that he picked him because obviously, as we can see here, this guy is not, he's not a sensible, reliable sort of person, is he? He's just like a screw up.
A cuckoo bird. A cuckoo bird. You know what? The left has one of the most powerful. The left has one of the most powerful voices in podcasting. Joe Rogan. Just the left moved.
Joe Rogan. Yeah, no, he's a Nazi, isn't he? I thought Joe Rogan was in the Nazi party.
And for the love of God, I used to be on the left. The left is like, I think the left actually has gone full loop. They've actually come around to be far right extremists or whatever, whatever they said that the far right extremists are capable of, that's the far left. They have nothing but hatred in them. They have vitriol, hatred, and they love labeling people. They got a label gun like you wouldn't believe. That's the biggest thing they have, right? The party of acceptance is the party of hate. They got a label gun. They're making those, remember the old label guns? They're just like steadily making a label. And then they come on social media and they just like label you. According to how we started the show this morning, I'm a small town hack YouTuber. Right there, see? Boom.
He's going rumble.
And then journalist. Must have got fired though, because like English, obviously not a tough skill set. But sausage rolls are what we work for. You can put the sausage rolls up. You're that quick? Let's see if our guys are as quick as that. Sausage rolls. There you go. We got
Control 5 sausage rolls.
we need pizza slices as well. So it is Friday, and we did do 2. We almost did 2.5 hours. We're sorry about that. But we are taking.
Well, like Howard Stern.
Howard Stern, we could go all day. If somebody would just send in a sausage roll or something, that just like beam one in. We do like the best one so far, other than Charles. Charles is amazing. Charles is like the best for sure for so far. But I mean, don't feel obligated though. Make sure your family is taken care of first, right? But always make sure family's taken care of. But we do appreciate the group of people that come on a regular basis, help us share this, get the message out there. News should hold power accountable. And what's your office address? You can go on KelownaNow.com, you can find it, but it'll tell you 1631 Dixon Avenue. 1631 Dixon Avenue. We can put it in the comments there, 1631. Because we're an actual news organization, 1631 Dixon Avenue, Suite 1600 on the 16th floor here in the center corner, 1631 Dixon Avenue. And there you go, Suite 1600.
Most of a chance the sausage rolls look gross. Have you had sausage rolls? It's like most English food or food that's popular in England. It might look gross, but it tastes very nice.
Sausage rolls and
how gross does a Yorkshire pudding look? Imagine trying to convince an alien to eat a Yorkshire pudding, but they're very nice.
Thank you, Clojo. Thank you, and you guys have a great weekend too. And we're going to cut some of these clips up, and we'll feed them throughout the weekend as well. We're trying to do clips too. Some people love the long show, and especially love the people that stick around for us. And then let's cut the clips up. Share this far and wide. If you find CTV and all those guys, just spam the heck out of them. Just let them have it, right?
They're going to get sick of that. Sick of seeing those guys.
That's it. There you go. Buy a monthly membership there. We're going to do some of that. Cheers, everybody. And we'll see you on Monday, 9 a.m. every weekday, 9 a.m. The Now Media Group bringing you the truth. And at least the way we see it, right? We try to see it in an impartial way, but doing the best we can anyway, without a budget of 1.5. Maybe the 1.55 billion skews your perspective. Maybe it would skew ours too. Maybe we don't want it.
Really? $1.5 billion? That's not going to make you change your perspective, is it?
Maybe we don't want that.
Your salary, you're supporting your family. None of that would make you support one political party over another, would it, Mr. CBC?
All right, thank you. We'll cut it off there. Thank you, Heidi. And thank you, everybody there. Bronson, a lot of these people I see all the time there, and we'd like to communicate all the time, right? It would be better if you put your names there, too, like even at the end when you put a comment so we can get to know you. My 2 cents, Vizu, V7. Yeah, great. All right, thank you. Cheers. We're out. See you Monday.